The EIDL grant numero dos. So I wanted to make a comprehensive video on everything we know as of right now on the $1,000 up to $10,000 completely forgivable EIDL grant. This is not a loan, it's a grant. The application portal is opening very soon. So let's talk about who can qualify, who can apply, how you qualify. This one is a little bit more confusing than the last time, so I have some tips on that. And we're going to cover how soon you can get your application in to just get a piece of that funding. And I'm doing my best to keep on top of all these changes with the stimulus check, the Paycheck Protection Program. I have other videos on that. If you're new to this channel, I run a moving and storage business here in Phoenix full-time on top of averaging like 2 videos a day here on YouTube. So my schedule is pretty packed, but I'm doing the best I can. Also, the company is called Skinny With Moving if you happen to need movers in the Arizona area. Anyways, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or EIDL as we refer to it, is set to open its portal doors on the 17th of this month, less than a week from today. Congress has allocated another $40 billion for the second round of grants, as well as the EIDL loans that are kind of attached to the grants. This is double what they allocated last time, so this is huge. Back in good old 2020, on March 27th, the first rounds of COVID EIDL grants and loans were approved, and with that came a grant of up to $10,000. The SBA then changed the rules of this grant after the fact to $1,000 per employee per business, leaving some small business owners feeling like they lost out on that full $10,000 grant. And by some, I mean pretty much everyone. There was outrage, there was word of class action lawsuits against the SBA, there was petitions, you name it, people were mad. But there's some good news here. The second round appears to cover this problem. Many of those small businesses that received a grant smaller than $10,000 will soon be eligible for the remaining difference. So if you got $1,000 the first time, you may potentially get the remaining $9,000. Or if you got $2,000, you might be able to get $8,000. You know, any difference between your number and $10,000. You might be entitled to that. You know what else you can get free though? 2 free stocks through Eidl with a $100 deposit with the link in my description. Was that a smooth transition? Anyways, you can get 2 free stocks, $100 deposit. You don't even have to spend the $100. I did it. It's a great deal. It's worth checking out. So just how do you qualify for the EIDL grant? Well, first, you have to be a qualified entity defined through the CARES Act. These include small businesses and corporations with fewer than 300 employees for the second round. That's down from 500 in the first round. The SBA has yet to clarify if a business that was approved last time with more than 300 employees will be eligible for the second round, but that doesn't really matter to most people, or even those businesses. I mean, $10,000 to a 300-person company is pretty much chump change. The employee limit for this should be more like 50, if you ask me, but I'm not the one making the rules here. Anyways, to get this enhancement, your business must also be located in a low-income community. And finally, that business needs to have suffered an economic loss of greater than 30%. If you meet these requirements, you will be able to receive the difference in the grant, or the full grant if you haven't received the first one, scot-free. You don't have to pay it back. So here's how you can figure out if your address counts as a low-income area. There are 2 ways to qualify under this. Either you need to live in an area where the poverty rate is at least 20%, or you live in an area where the median family income isn't more than 80% of the statewide median family income. So to figure this out, you'll want to go to censusreporter.org. Then where it says start typing to pick a place, type in your city name. This is going to bring you to a page with a ton of census data. You'll want to scroll down a little bit to where it says poverty. This will tell you the poverty rate of your general area. If that's not 20% or more, you'll want to look over at median household income to see the comparison of your state versus your city. Now, this method isn't perfect, but it'll give you an idea of where you stand. But I did find this all out on my own, so if you appreciate my research into figuring this out, please consider liking and subscribing because it would mean a lot. It'll show YouTube that I'm doing a good job. It'll show me that I'm doing a good job. Also, if you look up the census data and you're close to qualifying, but not quite, I would recommend applying for the grant anyways, just in case the SBA lets you through. Like I said, the census data isn't perfect. They might just let you through. The worst they can do is you apply and they say no. One thing we're not sure of though is what if you live in a median income area, but your business is located in a low income area? In this case, you might be able to get away with applying and getting that full grant. Again, if this is the case for you, I would recommend just applying and trying and see what happens. Oh, and also some more good news. The EIDL grant is not taxable, nor will it be deducted from the PPP loan forgiveness. So get both if you can. Now let's talk a little bit on what you need to do to apply for this bad boy. As of right now, the online portal is not up and running for the second round of loans and grants, but it's coming very soon. As of right now, the grant application portal is set to open on Sunday, January 17th. Set to open. We know the SBA has not been the best about deadlines, so let's hope it opens on January 17th. So we have a little bit of time to make sure all of our ducks are in a row before then, and this will help streamline the process and make sure you get a slice of that funding. So first, according to the stimulus bill, the SBA is required to notify anyone that received a previous grant or applied and did not receive one because the funds from the first round were completely exhausted. They will notify you that you may be eligible for the $10,000 grant or the difference between what you got and the $10,000 grant. It's not clear how they will notify you, but I imagine email. I hope it's email. But as further details come out on the method of notification and these other issues we don't have answers to, I will let you know. So another reason just to, be subscribed. Once the portal is up and running, which again is expected to be on the 17th of January, those who have not applied before can begin applying right away. For those that have already applied, it's unclear if you will have to go through the application process again. There will likely be something because you need to certify the loss in revenues and the low income area. Well, I guess they have your address. So at least the loss in revenues. Right now we're hearing don't apply again until you get guidance to do so. Hopefully the SBA will reach out with more information on this week and I'll be able to report on it. For first time applicants though, the SBA will have 21 days to either approve or deny your request. And they will also have to state the reason as to why you get approved or denied. So if you get denied, you may be able to fight it and potentially get it if you have a legitimate reason to fight it. If you receive the full $10,000 grant the first time around, unfortunately, you will not be able to get anything additional through the EIDL this time. This is unfortunate as I'm sure funds are exhausted for most businesses at this point. I'm sure that $10,000 didn't last a whole lot of time, but with how quickly the first round ran out, I suppose I can see, the reasoning behind it this time around. Also, you can still get the Paycheck Protection loan. Even if you got the EIDL the first time, you can get 2 PPP loans, so you at least have some other avenues. To those that haven't taken out an EIDL loan, it's important to keep track of all your expenses if you decide to take out the loan, if you get it, that are going to be covered with the funding, as well as be aware of what you can and can't use the funds for. The no-no items on the list include like paying dividends, paying bonuses, and of course using the funds for anything non-business related. You can't go out and buy a Tesla with your EIDL loan. But remember that 90 days after you pay back the loan, you'll be required to submit all your receipts for what the loan was spent on. So you will need meticulous records of this. Also, make sure you are aware if you're receiving the grant or applying for the loan. I know most of you applying for this will know what you're applying for, but I just want to make sure everyone knows what they're getting themselves into. I know the first time around there was a lot of confusion and you actually needed to check a box to say you wanted to be considered for the grant. Some people forgot to do that. Some people were deposited the loan amount and thought it was a grant. We don't know if we're going to have to check a box this time or not, but I can promise that as soon as I get my hands on the application, I will make a video on it. I just don't want anyone doing anything they're not intending to do. That's why I make all these videos. Now, I've covered a lot here, and before we get out of here, let's do a little recap of what we know and where we're at in regards to the EIDL grant and the loan. So if you applied before, and regardless if you were accepted or not, don't apply again. I know this sucks to hear. Inaction kind of sucks, but sit back and just wait to hear from the SBA as of right now. First-time applicants, though, look to start applying online through the SBA's portal on January 17th. Again, that is this coming Sunday. If you already received the full $10,000 grant as well as a loan, you will not be eligible for anything this time around, unfortunately, but you can still check out the PPP loan. I have other videos on that. And if you did receive some but not all of the grant, you may be eligible for the remaining balance of that $10,000 if you qualify based on the area you live in and you showed a decline in revenue of 30% or more. So that's going to do it for today's stimulus relief update. I wanted to thank you for watching, and as always, have a profitable day.